Hey everybody, it's Decap here, and in this video we'll be talking about some things from the Ian Has a Cosis and Preach interview thing that they did on Preach's Twitch, coming just off the heels of that at the time I'm recording this at least. I'm going to basically hit on 3 topics for this video from there, and frankly, there wasn't a ton of super interesting things in there. I think some of that was on the questions asked, and some of that was on Ian as well. I felt like some of the questions were oddly specific, as if they were like for like a specific friend or maybe for himself, and I didn't find those particularly interesting. And then some of them, Ian just didn't have anything interesting to say back, even though the question was fine. But these are 3 topics that I wanted to get into. The first one's about Korthia. This is something, if you follow Preach at all, he's mentioned a lot about it being bare bones. I know Bellular has mentioned this as well, seeming like it's not very much. I've recently put out a video saying that I doubt that that's going to remain based on my gameplay through it. I had a complete different takeaway than they did, that this was clearly going to be added to, just because of the assets that they use. It wouldn't make sense for them to put a lot of work into some of these places and then never use them again. Whereas some places that you went to during the quest line, it completely would make sense not to use them again because they're really kind of crap. Like, crap, they look fine, but like, they're not, there's no new features to them. They just like, there's a library you go to essentially, and it's just, it looks like a crappy Karzan library. Like they didn't put much effort into it. So I doubt we ever go back there, is what I'm saying. And maybe if we do, it'll be like one more time. So, basically, they are going to be expanding on it. The PTR is not a finished product by any means, which leads to the patch being, probably a bit late. I would hope for late June, but maybe July could be possible as well. But so, Korthia is not a finished product by any means. So don't listen to any doom and gloom you hear about Korthia as of now. As I've said, Isle of Caldenas is like my gold standard for an additional zone. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be gold, right? But it's also not going to be complete crap, unqualified, whatever. It's going to be somewhere in the middle of that. And who knows where it'll rank. People love rankings. But it'll be somewhere in the middle of gold and crap, right? So probably pretty close to where they normally are with their zones would be my guess. Somewhere within, parameters of that. The next thing I want to talk about was actually, this is probably the most interesting thing that they mentioned was basically Ian confirmed that there will be tier sets returning. And I believe that would be in 9.2 from what he said. And, excuse me, I believe that would be in 9.2. Tier sets will be finally returning. I don't think it was 9.1. I think he was saying for 9.2. We will have the return of tier sets. Now, I'm actually against this, which is not the popular thing among the most online World of Warcraft community, obviously. My reasons are very personal, though. I'm very unlucky with loot, and I also play a paladin, so I'm typically on a tier token with other classes that can be highly important, like healers and tanks. And as a ret paladin, even with master looter, a lot of times I would end up getting my tier sets quite late. The one time that did not happen was Nighthold. Actually got my tier set really quickly there because of not having a lot of raiders sharing my token, and because you actually needed a lot of DPS to Nighthold. At least that's what I was told. I don't know if that's true or not. That was my real first Mythic experience. So I got a lot of gear, and honestly, I got a lot of nice parses out of it because I got those tier sets so early. But traditionally, before that, I would get my tier sets really, really late. So I'm not a huge fan of tier sets just because of RNG of that. First, you have to get the token to drop, then you have to be the person to receive the token, and by the time you get your 4 set, especially, like someone else could have had their 4 set for a month, already put up all the parses against a lower amount of people competing against, and now you're competing with everybody. You just got your gear, you just got your 4 set, you're just doing, the rotation because you've watched videos, or like the ability changes because you've watched the videos, but like you haven't actually done it yourself, and you're at a bad footing when you get your stuff really late. It's just the way it is. And so I'm not for them, but they are coming back. A lot of people will be very happy about it. I'll be very happy about it if with personal loot, because it isn't master loot, right? With personal loot, if I actually just get all my tier set stuff really fast, I'll be fine with it probably, just because I'll be on a selfish level. But there is a downside to it, and it is like this huge power gap between the people who get their stuff quickly and the people who don't. So that's the most interesting thing that came out of this. And then the last thing, I'm just going to touch on it very quickly, is the conduit energy. They're not getting rid of it, at least fully, which is to me good. This is again a very unpopular opinion. I don't care about the conduit energy as a system. I just don't want to switch my conduits all the time, frankly. And it's hard to get into it more than that, because what Ian said was very perfect. And still, everyone in the chat's like, but why? But why? And that's honestly the response that I've gotten a lot. I'm guessing there's a lot of comprehension issues going on there, maybe some intelligence issues going on there, because I don't think Ian could have explained it much better, and I'm not really going to try to explain it better than he did. But there are some people who do more damage than you do, and we don't want to switch conduits. I know it's hard to believe. It just there is a amount of us who do not care to do that, and then you have the really casual players who don't want to be told to go switch their conduit by a high-end player. And they could, even if they were told now, they could just lie and say they don't have conduit energy. So there's two different groups who will benefit from the conduit energy system. There's two different groups that are affected negatively by it. The last thing I'll say about it is I have said I'm not against the people who want to get rid of it. I'm talking pro for myself. I'm arguing for my argument. I'm not talking against your argument. If they got rid of conduit energy, I would simply suck it up and change my stuff before every boss and optimize. I would not like it. The players right now who feel punished, I feel bad for you. But if you change it, I will feel punished. And that's why I'm on the other side of it, because I don't want to feel punished. So those are the three most interesting things from the interview that I took away that affect me personally. And there were some other things that were kind of interesting about Torghast and stuff, but a lot of it was already known stuff. So I think it could have been a better interview, but at least it wasn't contentious and seemed to get along pretty well. So I definitely enjoyed it. I watched the entire thing, and good job to Preach, good job to Devo Lord, and good job to Ian as well. So that's about it for this video. As always, I do ask you to subscribe to the channel because it helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody have a good one.